We're back to the Neil Haley Show. My guest today is Amy Nicholson, and we're going to talk about. I'm just blown away by this documentary, Happy Campers. How are you, Amy? And it's it'll make you tear up at the end. It'll make you really understand something that of a culture that we really didn't know about that you uncovered in this film. How did it get started? Tell me.
Well, first, thanks for having me, and thank you for the kind words. Yeah, I grew up going to that island, to Chincoteague Island. Yeah, they just had the pony swim. It's very famous for these wild ponies that they round up every year and auction off. Misty of Chincoteague was a book I read as a kid.
Huh.
um, and I fell into the campground taking pictures there, and I kind of forgot about it. And then I went back years later, and I went back when it was full in the summer, and
Right.
I just thought, this place is a riot. I need to know what happens here, but it looks interesting, and I just need to come in here. And so I rented a cabin for like half the summer and stayed there, and it was everything I thought it was going to be. It was amazing.
But we all know we rough it when we go to any type of vacation, like sometimes with beaches and different things, and you have a cabin near the beach or you have a beach house. It's not the greatest because we're spending time outside mostly. We're going to the beach, but we really learned a little bit about the whole trailer life in this discussion too, and camper life that we maybe didn't know about because really how family gets along and how everyone it was like they would relatives would come and friends would come and they'd want these spots and there's not many places like this.
No, and they're disappearing really quickly. It's sad because if you think about it, for the most part, these are people who are not going to get on a plane and go to Europe or, fly to the furthest reaches of the earth. This is their vacation. So if this doesn't exist, then what? And why is that fair? So yeah.
And kind of tell me the how did like I saw heard different accents, but where is that located, this island?
Oh, it's in Virginia, but it's just over. It's a Chincoteague is an island off the coast of Virginia. Um, the little piece of Maryland that sticks down
Okay.
continues and is Virginia, and then the Chesapeake Bay comes in. So, I mean, down there they say Delmarva because it's Delaware, Maryland, Virginia. They call it Delmarva area. But there were people there from Jersey. There were people as far away as Pittsburgh. I called them the super campers because I was like, they're hardcore. They drive 7 hours to get here.
Wow.
Um, and yeah, there were people from all over. Some like an hour up the road, but most people would come a few hours to get there, and then they would stay. They would either stay for the whole summer, they would stay from April to November. Couple people lived there full time, but for the most part, they came from like the states surrounding.
As all we all had our beach vacations and different things, what do you think were the similarities to that kind of experience when we went as family on our family vacations to the beach or to the lake or wherever versus staying there?
I think the kids that get to stay there for the summer are the luckiest kids on earth. I mean, because it's sand roads. There was a swimming pool that was very nicely maintained. You're sleeping in a camper as a kid. That's like sleeping at Buckingham Palace, you know? So and you get to like go out on the dock and you don't ever have to wear shoes, and there's no curfew because there's 150 families looking out for every kid in there. So it was just this magical little bubble, and I think it was I have had people say to me it reminds me of sleepaway camp or this
Yeah.
cabin we used to go to with my uncle Jim, or
Mhm.
I've had people say that to me after screenings, and I think it's kind of like in it's the best memory of summer that you might have. I hope.
And it looks like they could stay there longer than affording a 1 week vacation or even 3 or 4 days
Oh,
where some days
sure. It was,
you-
yeah, I kept my place all the time. I went down there. I went in the winter sometimes, but it's cold and windy in the winter and there's not much to do on the island. But yeah, the minute, March, April came, you'd see people come and open up, and then they'd had their house for the season. And
Well,
a lot of people didn't leave until November.
that's crazy. And it's all about that experience, right? Where you can forget about what you have to go back to. And you remember the even when they were the kind of without giving the film away, you see specifically a real turn fast in the documentary. And I know that you have a little bit in the description, but I want people to kind of really watch the film to see exactly because you really are you're just tickled by these relationships, this opportunities, and then life gets in the way, and that's
Mhm.
what we have to learn. And it's sad because I mean there should be more places like this so that people can have the opportunity, especially getting an entire family together for a vacation when
Right.
you know what beach houses cost to rent, and you know what certain vacations are enormously expensive, and we're now dealing with with inflation and everything where it's even more expensive that some people can't even afford a vacation anymore.
Sure. And if you work really hard, if you're an electrician or a plumber or, you work in a factory and that is your only escape. That is your respite from pressure, from bills, from, school years and, all of that. That's your getaway. So it becomes even more magnified when you look at it through the lens of someone who, like I said, can't afford to just hop on a plane and go to Europe.
And what's your hope finally for people that watch the film? What do you want them to get out of it?
I hope people think about the way they live because I certainly did. I came back it was just before the pandemic. So
Mm,
it was after the, 2020 election. COVID had set in and we were all on lockdown and it was like, oh, all bets are off. What's going to happen with the world? And everybody thought about a lot of things
mhm.
and me included. And I thought, wow, I was never happier than I was there. And I had nothing. I had like two old t-shirts from Old Navy, a pair of flip-flops, which the ladies made me burn at the end of the summer
Oh
because they
my
were so
goodness.
disgusting. And I had nothing and I was so happy. My husband was off playing horseshoes. It was great.
Oh,
It was just
absolutely.
great.
Where's the best people watch Happy Campers? Where can they go to watch?
Well, it's going to be at the IFC here in New York from the 7th to the 13th. And then it will screen in LA twice, 21st and 22nd at the Lemley Monica and the Lemley NoHo. And then it will be on Apple September 10th.
Okay. Can't wait to September 10th for our listeners. But if they're in those areas, they definitely need to check it out. I appreciate it, Amy, and thanks for stopping by.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. It's been fun.
You're welcome. You're listening, watching the Neil Haley Show, and we'll be back in just a moment.